Hello, welcome to another Sonic Racing Crossworlds modding tutorial. In this video, we're going to be going through importing vehicles into the game. Now, first things first, vehicles in this game are static meshes, which is to mean they are meshes without a skeleton. So it's going to be a slightly different process from modding characters, but the general building process is the same. What I personally recommend you do is that you still import a model, so you can see how big the meshes are. Now, vehicles are in content, union, machine. Then you can go for type. In this case, I'm going to be editing speed. So SPD for speed, SPD4, which in this case is the embosser from Metal Sonic, mesh, and now. The meshes are divided in front, rear, tire, and side, as you can see here. Now, the side meshes are done to connect each vehicle together, each vehicle part, I mean. So, for example, if you want to combine Metal Sonic's embosser front with Sonic's normal car's rear side, the actual side mesh is used in the middle to bridge. Each combination has its own mesh, as you can see. For example, for the one that's just the normal, this would be the side mesh for when you're using embosser front and rear. You don't, if you don't want to, you don't have to replace the side meshes. You can just replace them with a dummy that has like one vertex and that's it. This is only if you want actual compatibility and you care about it combining into each car correctly. Otherwise, you can just replace the one and be done with it, which is what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial for the sake of time. Now, export, save model on everything, really. I have files from a mod that I was testing, so I need to be sure I don't extract those by accident. Now, tires come in two meshes, left and right. They are not just copies of each other. They are actually like reversed or inverted, how you want to say it. So I would recommend you also extract both for the sake of being able to look at them correctly. And now let's go import them. They should be here. So I want to import the front. You can see it's very big. I'm going to import the rear. And I'm going to import the tires. Now, the thing with the tires is that they are not actually placed where they would be. They are placed in the middle so that the game then places them where they go. So when you're replacing them, be sure to put them in the middle. I think I imported the same wheel twice. Oops. So, tire. There we go. As you can see, they're both in the middle. Now, I'm going to hide them and import them later. Now, let's import the side. Oops. You can see this is basically the entire car put together. As you see, there is no inside. This is because the insides of the cars are manually are automatically added by the game, so you don't need to worry about that. Just make sure the new car you're putting in roughly matches. I already have a project where I already set up my car, so I'm gonna open that. As you can see, this is a very rough import of Metal Sonic's car from Team Sonic Racing. I'm gonna be using this. As you can see, I already split it into front, side, and rear, and also you cannot see them, but the wheels are over there. So now let's export everything. Once you are done, actually no, before I forget, one thing I need to mention. When you import one of the car models, you will see that despite me saying that they're static meshes without a skeleton, they import with a skeleton. You can see here if I import the side, you can see this over here has a skeleton with bones. Well, this one doesn't specifically. I may be stupid. Sorry. Let's import another one. Front should have one. Okay, so now you can see the front has bones here. These bones aren't actual bones. These are sockets that the game uses to assign stuff. So we're going to worry about that later. When you export, simply export without the skeleton. Just export the mesh as it is. So let's export. I'm going to export this. This is the front. Export FBX. I'm going to go to the folder where I keep my stuff. This is the folder. URL into tutorial, car mesh here. Remember, set the scale to 0.01 and in geometry, tangent space, and then choose export. Oh, also, I forgot to select the objects only, so it doesn't export everything together. Do that, then let's do rear. Let's do tire left. Tire right. Now, the side models, as you might have seen in F model, uh, are named differently for each car combination. So in this case, I'm going to be using this on Embuster as it is. So when exporting, I'm going to call it 4 underscore 4 again. So 04 underscore 04. This means this is the combination of 04 back and 04 front. So let's just export. And also, while I'm at it, I'm also going to be showing you how to do extreme gears. Extreme gears are the exact same process. It's the exact same thing. They only have some slight difference in sockets, which I'll be going through once we get to that. But here, I have the blue star from Sonic Riders, the low poly model, because it's just a test. Now, so you can see I have a very small and hidden side model, so that basically there isn't any side model, it's just front and back. So let's work with this. This is going to be going over the blue star that's already in the game, the one that's DLC. So let me go to Karma, Extreme Gear, export rear. Once again, remember 0.01. Geometry, tangent space, export. The same with the front. Same with the side. Now let's open Unreal Engine. Windows, Engine, Binaries, Win64, Unreal Editor. Oops, Unreal Editor. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you get an error like this happens to me a lot, simply press no, and then open it again, and it will open Unreal as it is, and you can open the project, and you can go in. Now, one thing to mention, you cannot do vehicles without the custom engine. You need the custom engine. Without it, it simply will never work. So let's wait a second for Unreal to open. All right. Now we want to make the folders for the parts. So let's go to Union, Asset, Machine. I have here I have this material that I made. This is a material intended for instances, so it's a bit of a nonsense. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it in a second. Now, machine. In this case, we are going to be editing the speed one. So let's call it type SPD. It's SPD 0_04 because it's the embuster. P04. And now mesh. And we make one for tire. Oops. Tire, front, and rear. Now we go back, we go to SPD again, we make one called side. Inside side, make one make it name the mesh. And now we have the folder set up. You may also make a folder for materials and textures if you want to. In this case, I will. Material, textures. Now, let's import the models. First, I'm going to start with the side. So I'm going to go here, go to the folder where I exported them. Car mesh, side, imports. Import all. Save, front, import all. Save, rear, import all. Save, and lastly, tires, import both of them, import all, and now save. Now, one very important thing you should do immediately so that you don't forget and get confused later. Vehicles in this game are hard-coded in the executable for some reason to have a material slot. You can see material slots are right here in the details. The first one must always be named car main mat. So go into here and name the slot car main mat and save. Without this, the game will crash when you drift, and also the materials will not load correctly. So please remember to do this. You need to do this for every part except for the tires. The tires use a different name. So give me a second. I'm gonna set the name on everything, including the side mesh. You do this on the side mesh too. I already did it. I think I'm confused. Did I do front? I did the front. There we go. Now tires use a slightly different one. It's called car tire mat. So set that up. Save. Set that up right here again. Save. Now, let's work on sockets. Cars usually have 2 or 3 sockets depending on the side. I'm gonna leave it in the description. I'm gonna leave the all the ones that I know of, so you can copy paste the names. But the main ones you need to worry about are front, back, light, lamp, and muffler for cars. So let's add a front one. Press here to add a socket. Name it fx underscore front. You want this to be roughly where your car ends on the front side. So in this case, let's move it up a little bit. So I'm gonna move this back a little bit like this. Oops, wrong one. A little bit like this. Down a little bit more forward. Uh, Stop. 168. Yeah, something like that. 167. Now, for the actual car lights, you're gonna be using FX light. In my case, I don't remember exactly where the lights are in this mesh, so I'm gonna just eyeball it. I'm gonna move it here, up to the side. And I believe, if I recall correctly, they are roughly around here, so I'm gonna move it a little bit more to the side. Then up, and then back a little bit. 145, yeah. Now, in this case, they use more than one. They use FX Light 1 and FX Light 2. Since generally speaking, the lights are parallel to each other, you can go into the first one, right-click in relative location, press copy, go to the second one, paste, and then simply invert the axis. In this case, it would be the x-axis. Oops, not the x-axis. I'm stupid. I believe it should be y. Yeah, there we go. So now we have this set up. I think this is all I need for this one. So now let's move back. Let's move to rear. Now the rear uses lamp, which I believe is for the backlights, and muffler. Some vehicles use more than one muffler. If you don't include the second muffler, it will spawn in the middle of the car, and it will just be there being annoying. So let's work around that. First, let's add a first muffler. In this case, oops. In this case, the muffler on my vehicle will be right in this. Oops. Delete this. In this case, it will be right here. So I'm gonna put it about there. Yeah. 140 maybe. No, that's too much. 135. That's good. Now I'm gonna make a new one. I'm going to name it FX Muffler 02. And I'm simply going to just copy the values so that when both of them spawn, they both spawn on the same side and you don't get a lot of effects where they shouldn't be. Now I'm going to spawn the lamps. Lamp 1. I'm going to put it roughly around here. This seems good. I'm going to spawn lamp 2. And I'm going to just copy it. Again, I'm going to copy the values from lamp 1 and I'm going to just invert the axis. There we go. This should be all you need for vehicles to work. Alright, quick intermission because I realized I forgot to do this before. I forgot the back socket in the mesh, so I'm going to add it. And I'm going to put it roughly where the backside of the car ends, which should be around here-ish. That's a little too up. Going forward, you won't see the socket in the video, but that's fine. Just pretend that it's there. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I forgot it. Now let's do some materials. I'm going to import all the textures that I need. I believe this should be all of them. I think I have some extra ones that I don't need, but we can worry about it later. Now, let's talk about textures. Cars use this should be here. I'm gonna make an instance of this. Now, cars use one more texture, use two more, sorry. Cars use two more textures compared to a character. They have BC, MRO, and N, like a camera character, which is the diffuse, the metallic roughness and occlusion, and normal map. Let's use E for emission and ID. What ID does is that it tells the game which parts it recolors. So when you make a custom color or use a color palette from the game, the ID is what tells it how to assign those. How does the edit texture work? The edit texture works like this. Let me disable the alpha channel on this because you cannot really see it if I don't. Set this to 1. Right, so the way this works is that, at least from how I understand it, red is the first color, green is the second color, and blue is the third color. So I'm gonna reset this. Let's set it up. If you're using the demo material card that I am including, what you're going to do is make an instance of it, like I just did, right-click on material instance, and you're going to name it like the name of the material you want to base it on. In this case, I'm going to base it on the front material. Copy, package name with that extension, paste. Now move it where it should be. In this case, in the material folder. Now right-click again, create an instance of that one, and this is the one we want to customize. So I'm going to name this Metal Sonic Team Sonic Racing front. Then I'm going to edit the textures. So I'll enable everything and replace them. The diffuse, the emissive, the ID, the MRO, and the normal map. One thing to mention, if you want to only use diffuse, use a completely black ID. If you do that, the game will not assign any colors to it. So if you don't want the customization for whatever reason, you can just use a black ID texture map. So now save, and let's see on which one of these it goes. I believe it applies to this one. Yeah, it should apply to this one too. Not to that one. And I think this one too, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Now, I need to make another one. If you want to make something that's glass, obviously in this case, this car has a glass material, so I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna make a copy of this, name it like that. Then I'm gonna make a copy of this one. I'm gonna name it Metal Sonic Font Glass. And I'm going to replace the parent material in here. Replace it with front glass. So I'm gonna use this one on the glass ones. Glass lights, glass in general. And now I have this front body too. These parts use a different material, so I'm going to make a new one. So I'm gonna make a copy of this one. I name it. Oops. I'm going to name it front 2. I'm gonna open it. I save this while I'm at it. I'm gonna open it and I'm gonna replace the textures again. In this case, I believe it uses these ones. So I'm gonna put it over here so I can see both things at the same time. Diffuse, emissive, ID, MRO, normal map. Save. Let's go here. And I'm going to assign it. All right, you can see it's assigned correctly. Now let's work on the rear. In my case, this car uses mostly the same materials for everything, so I don't need to make too many new ones. I believe this uses front. This uses front glass. This uses whatever, because I never figured out what this material was supposed to be. And rear ring is something else, so I'm gonna make another one. I name this rear. I want to replace stickers again. The same thing for the tires. Now, if your vehicle doesn't use an emissive material, what you can do is set it to be a dummy black one. In this case, I'm going to use the one already in the game, but you can import your own or whatever you want to do. The ones that are already in the game are inside of Asset, Common, Texture, and here they are. You need to import them into the project, obviously. They won't be here on their own, but you can put them there. So now let's go back. With this, you should be done setting up your car. I am now going to be doing an extreme gear so I can show both of them. The extreme gear is the exact same process, only the extreme gear has a couple more sockets, which we'll talk about in a second. So let's work on that. In this case, the extreme gears are boost types, so their ID is DSH. The blue star is DSH51. And now the same thing. Create a material folder, texture folder, and mesh folder. Out of mesh, create rear and front. Go back to DSH, create the one that says side. Instead of side, create one that says mesh. And now let's import everything. Let's go back here, extreme gear. I'm going to import the side first, import all. Then I'm going to import front. And I'm going to import rear. Save everything. Now, let's talk about the stream gears. Stream gears also need the material slot name to be card main mat. So let's do that. Set that up there. Set that up there, and set that up in there. Now let's save. Now let's talk about sockets in Extreme Gears. Extreme Gears have 4 more sockets they use, and they're all in the rear. Alright, so the sockets the Extreme Gears have, they have FX back, which is the same as the cars. I'm gonna put it roughly where it's supposed to be. I don't really care too much for accuracy on this. They use muffler. In the case of Blue Star uses muffler 1 and 2, so I'm gonna be adding both. But I think generally speaking, most Extreme Gears only use muffler 1. So I'm gonna put it roughly where it needs to be. In the case of the Extreme Gears, the muffler is the trail they have. So I'm gonna make a muffler 1, muffler 2. And I'm going to copy the values so both show up in the same spot. There we go. Now, the 2 important things. Extreme Gears have 2 sockets for the flight unit and the boat unit. So the boat unit needs to be roughly on the sides below, and the flight unit needs to be completely on the sides of the Extreme Gear. So I'm gonna eyeball it in this case. You can be more accurate if you want to, obviously, and you should. So I'm gonna flight unit 1 here. Around there sounds fine. I'm gonna make a new one, flight unit 2. I'm gonna copy the values from 1. And I am just going to import the axis. Now let's do the boat unit, which is called aqua unit. So let's add it, aqua unit. You want it roughly to the sides and below, something about like that. That seems good to me. Oops, I made a copy by accident. Make a new one, aqua unit 2. I'm gonna copy the values again. I'm gonna paste them, and I'm going to invert the axis. Now with this, your rear side extreme view should be done. The front, as far as I know, only uses the FX front socket. So let's add it. Let's move it. And that's roughly good. I think that's fine. So let's save. Now that we've done everything, let's make a material real quick. I'm going to show you how a material looks when you don't do anything other than a diffuse, because that's just how it looks that's just the texture maps that I have. So I'm gonna import this. I'm gonna change the settings to filter and make it nearest, because this actually is too small, so it won't look good if I don't do it. Now I'm gonna make a material real quick. In this case, let's go to see the Blue Star name. Blue Star's material is this one, so let's make a package, copy package name, paste, move here, make another instance. I'm gonna name it Blue Star GameCube, and I'm going to replace the everything. Replace the diffuse with this, and the emissive with the dummy black texture. I'm going to also replace the ID with the dummy black texture, the MRO with the dummy MRO, and the normal map with the dummy normal map. So now that we've done this, the game will not color the stream gear, it will only use the diffuse for it. So now let's assign the materials. And we are done. Now let's go back, platforms, Windows, cook content. Alright, now that I finished cooking, let's go to Union, Saved, Cooked, Windows, Union, Content, Union, Asset, and Copy Machine. Let's go into our retalk folder. In my case, it's right here. Game mode, Union, Content, Union, Asset, and then paste it here. Now delete this because we don't need it. Delete these because we don't need them either. Actually, I need this one, so I'm not going to delete it. Delete the ones we don't need. Let's go into this folder. Delete this one because we don't need it. And now let's repack. Paste into the game folder. Paste. And launch the game. You can really see here that the stream is working correctly. As you can see, everything is fine. We're going to test both of them anyway. And the car should also be working correctly. Yeah. So you can see, if I go to customize the car, the colors applied were to where my ID allowed it to. So yeah, let's try both of them. As you can see, the effects play correctly, and we can drift without problems. Now let's go look at the stream gear. See, it's working just fine. It just looks ugly because I made a very default material. But yeah, as you can see, working completely as intended. And if we go here, you can see that in this case I placed the flight units a little too farther away, but you can see it's working just fine. If now we leave and go to water track, as you can see there they are. That's the entire process for modding vehicles.